It's the end of the day with Ray. Hello, my friends. Well, you see on the Sharp Interactive board, I got Konica Minolta's logo, and I got news update. I'm going to give an update on Konica Minolta. I was on their website. They published another award by All Covered. I want to talk about that. But ladies and gentlemen, yesterday, I shared the third quarter results from my perspective regarding HP, right? And it's not going good over there at HP. I mean, that stock is, it's sinking like a boat with a big giant hole in it. Let's just do a real quick update on that. Folks, they're down 3.17% today. The stock's sitting at $27.80. Do you realize 3 months ago, just 3 months ago, that stock was over $40 a share? That's the time that Warren Buffett went in there and bought a bunch of it. Folks, this thing is sinking. And why it's sinking is I believe the investment community is putting more scrutiny on HP. And they're starting to look at HP. And I've been screaming, not only at HP, but I've been screaming at Konica Minolta and All Covered to share the real numbers of All Covered. Share the numbers of your diversification. It's so important for your shareholders and your stakeholders to realize that you have something past print. This is a reality that our industry has to face. Mega dealers, roll-ups, all y'all, you have to be able to prove to the world that your diversification strategy, your continuous relevant strategy is profitable. You're not going to be able to keep grabbing money out of your print business to prop up poor management or mismanaged diversifications. Those diversifications have to be managed extremely well and they have to be profitable, or you're going to find yourself in trouble as the scrutiny starts to hit our industry. Because the investors are watching HP and they're saying, holy crap, what happened? And then they start looking at this and they really start digging into it. And they're going to start, this is going to affect credit lines to dealers. This is going to affect so many things. And it's so important that my friends in that document imaging channel, those friends of mine that sell supply and service print equipment that are trying to diversify profitably. And when I watch my friends over here at Konica Minolta posting these crazy awards on their website and they're sharing all this information with the award givers, I'm asking myself, well, why don't they share this information with the world? Because, folks, I don't think I need to remind everybody, but maybe I will. Okay? The first 3 months of Konica Minolta's fiscal year 2022, they lost $81.7 million. That equals $27.2 million a month. It's not just about their first quarter for fiscal year 2022. If you go back to 2 years prior, those 2 years combined is $286.5 million loss. Ladies and gentlemen, we're talking about almost $400 million in losses in 27 months. And I think it's important that if All Covered is really, really successful, is really, really knocking it out of the park, that you share that information. And you share it now. And then I'm thinking to myself, well, maybe they don't want to come on the end of the day with Ray because they're like, well, why would we share it with the end of the day with Ray? I mean, who watches that show? Ladies and gentlemen, I gotta kind of digress a little bit in today's episode because I'm super excited about what's going on with the other day with Ray platform. The first thing I got to do is I got to pull up my LinkedIn profile. And I got to say, I'm really sorry if you're trying to send me a first connection request because I can't accept anymore. I've hit the 30,000 limit. I'm super excited about this, folks, and I'm so honored and humbled by all of my followers out there on LinkedIn. You can still follow me. You just can't be a first connection because I hit the limit. But ladies and gentlemen, when you get some activity going on LinkedIn, they have this new analytic that they put out there for you. And I saw this, and this is just so exciting for me, and I really am super honored by this. And I'm not sharing this information to be braggadocious. I'm sharing this information because maybe if Konica Minolta really knew how many people were looking at the end of the day with Ray, they would get more excited about coming on and sharing all those successful details around All Covered, which is giving them all these awards. I mean, they don't want to go on a platform where they don't think anybody's watching. But ladies and gentlemen, if you go in the middle of the analytics section of my profile, and this I'm the only one that can do this. You can't do this. That's why I want to share it with you publicly. But in the middle here, it says 54,739 post impressions in the last 7 days. In the last 7 days, 54,739 post impressions. Folks, this is crazy stuff, man. You click on that, and it sends you to this analytics board, and I can scroll down where it says 7 days. I can do, let's see what's going on over the past 365 days. I could show the results. Folks, again, I am so excited about this. And so honored for all those that follow me on LinkedIn. I'm sitting on 1,000,000 760,858 impressions over the last 365 days. 1,760,858 impressions. Folks, that's fantastic news. I'm super excited about this. When I look at the chart down here, you can see the activity since February of this year, how it's just grown compared to the year before. You know, I'm pretty sure I'll be over 2 million impressions by the end of October. So Konica Minolta, if you come on the end of the day with Ray and you share all those successful, you know, success stories about all covered, a whole lot of people are going to see it. This should be good news. This should kind of entice you to come on. Because, ladies and gentlemen, I mean, if you look at the award, and I kind of copied and pasted this here on my Sharp Interactive board, right? But here's some of the things, the metrics that they're sharing with if you took all these award winners together, these are the metrics they're sharing. And I'm thinking, well, what if we could get these same metrics just about all covered? Let me just read some of these for you. MSP 500 aggregated revenue totaled $21 billion. So, you know, altogether it was $21 billion in revenue for everybody. We don't know the revenue of all covered. I did a video one time and all covered was aspiring to reach $1 billion in revenue. We know they're nowhere near that based on the amount of revenue that Konica Minolta does, their whole business does in the Americas. So we know this nowhere near $1 billion. Total employment among these MSPs was 77,000 employees. The average was 32 employees per company. Well, we know that all covered would have a whole lot more than 32 employees, right? I mean, obviously they'd have a lot more than 32 employees. How many did they have? You know, when I'm reading this 21 billion as an average number, as the total number, I wonder if Konica Minolta's given the award giver like Konica Minolta's revenue for the Americas, like all of it. Or are they giving them just the revenue for all covered? Well, that'd be kind of nice to know that, wouldn't it? I think so, because, I mean, obviously, if they gave them the number for all of Konica in the Americas, that would be a big, giant number. It would skew all the numbers up. I mean, I don't think they're doing that. I'm pretty sure they're probably just counting for the all-covered numbers. But see, that's why they should come on the end of the day with Ray, because they could clear that up real quick. Let's look at this. Average revenue for MSP 500 was $42 million. Average revenue is $42 million. Folks, we know that most of the IT services companies out there today don't do anywhere near $42 million a year in revenue. I mean, over 50% of them do like less than 2 million. And so, I don't think 42 million seems like a high number. So there's been some big players in there. You know, who besides Konica is a big player in the mix? Total reoccurring revenue was 11.6 billion with everybody on the list, but the median was 3.5 million in reoccurring revenue. That's a little number. 3.5 million reoccurring revenue. Well, we know that all covered has to be doing more than that, but how much are they doing per month in reoccurring revenue? What's that reoccurring revenue growth? You see, these are fantastic questions that should get answered to all of the people in the community that you live in, which is that print world. I know that you want to call yourself an IT services company, but you're not an IT services company until IT services is way past 50% of your total revenue in the print sector. I mean, otherwise you're just a print company that's kind of selling IT. And without anybody really knowing what those all covered numbers are, I mean, you know, we might think that you're like doing $42 million a year in business. Yeah, that's not very big. We might think you're only doing 3.5 million in reoccurring revenue. That's terrible for such a big, you know, national company. And you know, all covered, they said recently, I think it was Sam Arago said in an interview with a guy with a hat that, you know, they were going to take all covered globally. Remember the video I did talking about the sales reps in France selling IT? But anyway, folks, this is great information. And this is information that would be so valuable to those dealer friends of mine. Because, ladies and gentlemen, it doesn't matter whether you're an OEM that's transitioning into broader services. It doesn't matter if you're a mega dealer roll-up being backed by private equity, and private equity is probably getting a little bit impatient or getting some value out of those companies. Diversification is a must, because we all know that print's falling off that cliff. But that diversification has to be profitable. The continuous relevance of our industry has to be profitable. We got to stop giving each other crazy platitudes, trying to make everybody feel good, hiding a bunch of mismanagement under just nutty stuff. Let's just leave it at that. But ladies and gentlemen, here's what I'm thinking. In order to get Konica Minolta to come on the show, I got to give him an award. I mean, it's just the truth. I put this on this slide. Award for data program I'm going to have. Award for data program. So Konica Minolta, I'm going to look around and I'm going to try to find someone to help me put a motor in your second race car. So recently I got an opportunity to see the Konica Minolta race car, you know, the one they take around all the shows and stuff, and I realized it didn't have a motor in it. And I was talking to the Konica Minolta people, and they said, well, that's just the one we take around to show people. We don't have a motor in it. But we could put a motor in it. It could be a backup car. I'm thinking, well, if it's a backup car, that means the other car probably got wrecked, and hopefully the motor didn't get wrecked. So it would be a lot easier if they just had another motor in the car that they take around to show everybody. So I'm thinking, what if I could get someone to put a motor in that car? If I could put a motor in your race car, would you come on the end of the day with Ray and share all the data about all covered? They're thinking there for a second. I know I got them thinking. They're thinking, well, yeah, we could do that. We'd get a motor in a car. Folks, here's the reality. I can't get you a motor for your race car. But it doesn't matter where you go to share this information. I mean, if you share it on the end of the day with Ray, literally, you already saw there's a whole lot of people looking at my content. But you could go on the guy with the hat. You could call up Patricia and talk with her about it. But whatever you do, you should bring those details to light. Because here's the reality, my friends. Whether you're Konica or somebody else, you don't want to wake up one day and realize that the value of your company just fell off the cliff. Because people now are putting some scrutiny on it. Just some things to think about, my friends, because we all know this. Status quo is the killer of all that'll be invented. Don't get stuck in status quo, and I'll see you all tomorrow.